As of August 21st, 2026, legacy math benchmarks like AIME and Math 500 are officially archived because, well, AI got entirely too good. The new standard is Vals AI ProofBench version 1.1, where Claude Opus 5 just hit 99% accuracy on formally verified Lean 4 proofs, and Epoch AI's FrontierMath version 2, where models are right now solving research-level math that takes human experts days to crack.
Right, which completely shifts the paradigm for developers, or really anyone deploying AI in the real world. I mean, the question you have to ask today is no longer, can a large language model pass a high school math test? We are way past that.
Yeah.
The operational question now is, can an AI maintain a valid chain of reasoning to produce a mathematically verified proof, without human intervention?
I have to push back on that right out of the gate, though. If the AI can already ace elite national-level competition math, why should you, as a developer or user, actually care about these entirely new, ridiculously hard benchmarks?
Well, it comes down to distinguishing true reasoning from mere memorization. When a model solves a known high school competition problem, we can't always be certain if it reasoned its way to the answer or if it just ingested a very similar problem during its training phase.
Right, the data contamination issue.
Exactly. These new benchmarks demand original verified logic. They force the model to actually prove its work step by step in an environment where faking it is mathematically impossible.
So looking across this huge stack of benchmark data sets and developer notes today, we have one mission, which is figuring out how you actually measure AI intelligence now that all of our old yardsticks are completely broken.
Oh, yeah, they're obsolete.
So let's start with the Vals AI ProofBench V1.1 leaderboard. This is currently the undisputed gold standard for formal math proofs, and the raw data is striking. Claude Opus 5 is the dominant model here, scoring 99%. Claude Fable 5 sits at 95%, and Kimi K3 comes in at 87%.
Which is a huge spread.
It is. But if you're building an application, that raw score is only a fraction of the story. I mean, accuracy, price, and speed are three completely different variables in a production pipeline.
Yeah, that's a crucial point, because Kimi K3 is significantly cheaper per task. If you're looking at API costs, it seems incredibly attractive. But it takes much longer on average to arrive at the solution.
Right.
Claude Opus 5 and Fable 5, on the other hand, they're incredibly efficient. Vals reports that they use far fewer tool calls per problem to get to the correct answer.
Wait, before we go further, you mentioned tool calls. If I'm a casual user, I just type a prompt and get an answer. What does a tool call actually look like for an AI doing math? Is it like pulling out a virtual calculator?
Essentially, yes, but much more advanced. In these complex environments, the AI writes a piece of code, runs it in a secure sandbox, reads the error message if it fails, revises the code, and then runs it again.
Oh, wow.
Every time it does that, it's making a tool call. Kimi K3 burns through a lot of these cycles just guessing, failing, and retrying. Opus 5 and Fable 5, they get the underlying architecture of the proof right much faster, so they require far less trial and error.
It sounds identical to the classic developer hiring dilemma. You can look at Kimi K3 like a junior developer. Sure, their hourly rate is cheap, but they're going to take all week to figure out the problem, constantly compiling broken code and going back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
And Opus 5 is the expensive senior dev. You pay a massive premium up front, but they understand the problem deeply and get the architecture right on the first try with minimal thrashing.
That's a perfect way to look at it. If your pipeline relies on speed and minimizing the compute overhead that comes from constant tool calls, that 99% accuracy from the senior dev model is well worth the premium. You're paying for the lack of wasted compute.
But ProofBench is specifically about formal verification. If we look over at Epoch AI's FrontierMath Tier 4 leaderboard, we're dealing with something else entirely, right? Original research-level mathematics.
Right, a totally different beast.
This test asks if a model can solve extremely difficult, never-before-seen math problems in the first place. On this board, Claude Fable 5 leads the general-purpose models at 87.8%, with a standard error of plus or minus 5.2%.
Which is key.
Yeah, and GPT-5.6 Sol is right behind it at 82.9%, plus or minus 5.9%.
Those error bars are the most important part of that statistic. When you see a 5-point difference on a leaderboard, human nature is to declare a definitive winner and allocate your startup's entire budget to that model.
Right, you just buy the one at the top.
But mathematically, with those overlapping uncertainty ranges, an 87.8% does not definitively prove a massive underlying capability gap over an 82.9%. The sample sizes are just too small, and the standard errors overlap.
So you shouldn't blindly pick a model based on a single leaderboard decimal point.
No, absolutely not. You have to look at the statistical context.
You also have to look closely at the version number, which brings us to why FrontierMath v2 matters so much more than the old FrontierMath scores.
Oh, yeah. The versioning is critical.
Because on June 12, 2026, Epoch released this v2 update because they discovered errors in 42% of the problems in the earlier dataset.
A 42% error correction is a massive fundamental shift in the dataset.
And currently, out of 338 total problems across all the Frontier Math tiers, only 12 are actually public, 10 from tiers 1 through 3, and only 2 from tier 4. So why is this versioning so mission critical for developers who are trying to evaluate these systems?
Well, if a vendor comes to you and boasts about an incredible score on FrontierMath, you need to ensure they aren't selling you on a model's performance from that flawed older version of the test.
I see.
A score on V1 should never be dropped into a V2 leaderboard or, a marketing deck as if they're identical evaluations. The underlying data set changed, and the difficulty curve changed right along with it.
So if you're sitting there listening to this and building a math-heavy application right now, what is the actual best LLM for math?
The honest answer is that a singular best model just doesn't exist anymore. It entirely depends on the specific mathematical task you're targeting.
Because if you need formal proofs, you go with Claude Opus 5 based on ProofBench.
Right.
But if you need advanced research-style problem-solving, you're looking at Claude Fable 5 based on FrontierMath Tier 4.
Exactly.
And if you're building a straightforward high school tutoring app, the Frontier benchmarks are almost irrelevant because the older, cheaper models are already saturated in that capability.
Yeah, you have to map the model to your specific pipeline. I mean, an AI system optimized to output formally checkable code for a Lean-4 theorem prover is a very different machine than one designed to creatively explore uncharted research problems.
Which begs the question of which LLM math benchmarks actually still matter today, because clearly not all benchmark percentages mean the same thing. ProofBench v1.1 and FrontierMath v2 are active frontier benchmarks. But AIME, Math500, GSM-8K, and MGSM, those are entirely archived.
They're history.
Yeah, so if an AI provider puts out a press release boasting about a 99% on GSM-8K, you need to recognize that's a historical relic. It is not a frontier discriminator anymore.
Bragging about GSM-8K today is like an auto manufacturer putting out a press release to announce their new sports car can successfully drive through a school zone without the engine stalling.
Right.
It's the bare minimum expectation. It tells us absolutely nothing about how fast the car can go on the track.
So let's talk about the track then. I want to unpack how ProofBench actually tests formal mathematical reasoning because the mechanics here are fascinating. Correctness on this benchmark doesn't mean writing a convincing paragraph of text. It means producing formally checkable code.
Yeah, the evaluation is done via the Lean-4 proof checker. Lean-4 is a strict programming language designed specifically for mathematics. The model is given a natural language statement and a formal statement in Lean-4.
Okay.
It then gets up to 40 interaction turns per problem to search for mathematical lemmas using tools like Lean-Lugal, test run its code, read the compilation errors, and revise its work before submission.
Wow, 40 turns.
And crucially, it cannot bypass the proof using commands like sorry or admit, which are built-in shortcuts in the language.
I'm trying to visualize this. So think of natural language grading like a lawyer delivering an amazing closing argument to a jury. It sounds incredibly convincing, it flows beautifully, but it might actually be full of logical holes or circular reasoning.
Right.
But Lean-4 is like a forensic accountant going through that lawyer's bank statements line by line. You can't charm a spreadsheet.
That's exactly it. A human grading that lawyer's argument might skim a complex algebraic transition on page 6 and just give it a pass because it looks plausible.
Yeah, we've all done that.
Natural language grading is highly vulnerable to hallucination. A model can write a beautifully structured, persuasive 10-page proof that hides an unsupported assumption or a missing case.
But Lean-4 doesn't care.
Exactly. Lean-4 compiles the math. By forcing the model to run through the Lean-4 proof checker, ProofBench eliminates hallucinated reasoning entirely. If the code doesn't compile and verify mechanically, it just fails.
And this is vital for what developers call agentic workflows, right? Where the AI is operating autonomously over long periods.
Yes, absolutely. In an agentic workflow, the AI is making decisions and feeding the results of those decisions into its next task. If there's a subtle algebraic error in step 2 and the AI is running for 50 steps, that error compounds silently.
Oh, I see.
By step 50, the entire output is worthless. Lean 4 verification stops that silent compounding dead in its tracks.
That definitely clarifies ProofBench. But what happens when the AI isn't just proving something we already know, but trying to solve math that humans find incredibly difficult? This is where FrontierMath comes in, and where Olympiad problems are no longer hard enough.
We're way past Olympiads now.
Right. AI benchmarks have moved way past school logic into computational number theory, real analysis, and algebraic geometry.
The difficulty curve in FrontierMath is steep. Tiers 1 through 3 contain 295 problems ranging from advanced undergraduate up to early research.
Okay.
But Tier 4 contains 43 hardcore original research problems. These are problems designed to take human mathematicians days to solve.
And a critical detail here is that the models are allowed to execute Python to find the answer. They don't just output text, they eventually submit a Python function, returning the final result. Why Python, though? What does computational number theory look like when an AI is doing it?
Well, imagine a problem that requires finding a specific pattern within massive prime numbers. A human mathematician wouldn't sit there with a pencil trying to divide million-digit numbers.
No, that would take lifetimes.
They would write a Python script to crunch the data, find the pattern, and then build their proof around that discovery.
Oh, so the tool use is the point.
Exactly. FrontierMath evaluates a modern reasoning system operating with computational tools, rather than pretending tool use doesn't exist. Testing modern reasoning with Python perfectly mirrors how you, or any real developer or data scientist, actually works today. You wouldn't hire a brilliant data scientist and then ban them from using a calculator or a Python script to verify their work.
That makes total sense. So let's shift to the benchmarks that used to define the industry. The GSM-8K Leaderboard and its multilingual counterpart, MGSM. GSM-8K has roughly 8,500 grade school word problems.
Right.
MGSM translated a subset of 250 problems into 10 different languages. For instance, Claude Opus 4.5 thinking hit 95.2% on the multilingual test. But as we established, these are completely saturated.
Yeah, a near-perfect score on GSM-8K doesn't prove the model can generalize to unfamiliar research math or handle visual diagrams. It just proves it can do basic word problems.
I'm stuck on something here, though. Why do we even care if an AI can do grade school math in Swahili or Bengali? I mean, math is math. What is the actual value of MGSM today if the difficulty is so low?
It tells us whether the model actually built a true internal representation of the logic, or if it just memorized English string patterns from Reddit and Wikipedia.
Ah, so it's a test of the underlying structure.
Yes. MGSM is useful for checking if a model's underlying logic breaks down when it switches from a high-resource language like English to a lower-resource language. It's a consistency check across languages, ensuring the reasoning is decoupled from the syntax. But, it is not a tool for picking a frontier model for complex tasks.
And that saturation issue isn't just for grade school math. Let's look at the archived 2025 LLM Math Leaderboard and AIME. The archiving of tests like Math 500 and AIME wasn't because the models got worse, it was because the models got too good entirely too fast.
Way too fast.
By May 2025, Gemini 3 Pro hit 96.4% on Math 500. Then, by April 2026, Gemini 3.1 Pro Preview hit 98.1% on the 60-question AIME contest evaluation. AIME is designed to challenge elite high school competitors, and the AI essentially perfected it.
But there is a massive caveat to those older public datasets, and it's basically the bane of AI evaluation contamination risk.
Right.
Because AIME is a public contest, the questions and solutions are debated on forums, published in PDFs, and plastered everywhere online.
Vals actually found that models literally performed better on older 2024 AM questions than the 2025 ones. How does an AI perform better on a test from a year ago if the difficulty is supposed to be exactly the same?
Through exposure during training. If an AI scrapes the internet in late 2024, it ingests all the solutions to the 2024 AM.
Because they're already out there.
Right, but it hasn't seen the 2025 solutions yet because they just don't exist. If a model has effectively memorized the underlying patterns of a 2024 test from its training data, its score isn't a reflection of raw reasoning anymore. It's taking an open book test where it already read the answer key.
That perfectly explains why private test sets like the ones in FrontierMath and ProofBench, where the problems are kept completely secret, are so critical now.
Exactly.
But all of this so far has been entirely text and code-based. Real-world math often relies on diagrams, graphs, and charts. This is where the MathVista leaderboard comes in, testing visual math reasoning.
Yeah, MathVista contains 6,141 examples, testing multimodal geometry, scientific reasoning, and statistical charts. It tests scenarios where the mathematical information is encoded visually, not explicitly written in the text prompt.
Which means interpreting a scatter plot for a biology research paper is fundamentally different from writing a formal proof in Lean 4. You should never average a model's MathVista score with its ProofBench score.
No, absolutely not. They are solving entirely different operational problems. An AI that is brilliant at formalizing a theorem in Lean 4 might completely fail at understanding the spatial relationship of shapes in a geometry diagram. Averaging those scores creates a useless metric that obscures the model's actual capabilities.
Which perfectly sets up the problem of determining the best LLM for math by use case and how we actually rank them. If you're developing an app, you need to stop looking for a composite, made-up, overall math score.
It doesn't exist.
Right, and if a vendor gives you one, you should be deeply skeptical. You have to match your exact use case to the specific, locked version benchmark.
And even when you do that, LLM math benchmark scores can be highly misleading. Leaderboards look perfectly objective. They're just a list of numbers. But they are full of hidden traps. Saturation and training data contamination are two major traps we've already covered. But tool access and reasoning effort are just as critical.
Let's break down reasoning effort because some leaderboards feature models that were allowed what is called a max reasoning trajectory. What does a max trajectory actually look like in practice?
Well, imagine you give a complex problem to a model, and you allow it to spawn 100 different parallel thought processes.
Okay.
It writes code, tests it, fails, revises it, and consumes massive amounts of compute for 3 hours before finally giving you its final answer. That is a max trajectory.
Wow.
Now compare that to a model that is forced to spit out the answer in 2 seconds using only its internal computation with no external tools or extended thinking time.
It's literally like judging a race where one person is sprinting on foot and the other person is allowed to build and ride a motorized bicycle before crossing the finish line.
That's a great analogy.
Both cross the same line, but you're measuring two completely different physical feats. If you don't document the tool environment and the test time compute, the leaderboard is just lying to you.
You also have to account for statistical noise, which brings us back to the sample size.
Right, Tier 4.
Yeah, FrontierMath Tier 4 only has 43 problems. That is intentionally difficult, but every single problem carries a huge amount of weight. A lucky guess, a minor formatting error in the Python submission, or a slight misinterpretation of the prompt can swing the percentage dramatically. Close results should be treated as a performance tier, not a definitive ranking decided by a single decimal point.
So, bringing this all together, the bottom line on why math benchmarks keep getting harder is that AI is shifting from passing human tests to actually expanding the boundaries of human knowledge. Where does this actually end?
Well, we can trace this evolution through 6 distinct stages. Stage 1 was basic arithmetic, measured by GSM-8K. Stage 2 was complex high school algebra and geometry, measured by math. Stage 3 was elite competition math, measured by AIME. Stage 4 moved into advanced undergrad and research math with FrontierMath. Stage 5 introduced machine-verifiable proofs with ProofBench, completely removing hallucination.
And now we're arriving at Stage 6, Epoch's open problems. This isn't a test with a hidden answer key. This is a collection of significant mathematical problems that were entirely unsolved by human mathematicians.
Yeah, it's wild.
Out of 50 unsolved problems, AI systems had already solved 3 of them by July 31st, 2026.
That is a monumental shift in the history of science. The definition of being good at math is a constantly moving target.
Yeah.
The only useful benchmark today is the one that remains difficult enough to teach us something fundamentally new about the system's capabilities.
It's an incredible trajectory. From Claude Opus 5 perfecting machine-check Lean 4 proofs to FrontierMath forcing models to use Python just like human researchers, all the way to AI systems solving actual open problems that have stumped human experts for decades.
It really is.
If AI can now solve open mathematical problems that human experts couldn't, what human-only skill becomes the most valuable next? Let us know what you think.